Hello, everyone! It's the Impossible Puzzles Show. It's Mike here, and I'm with Namrah back again. It's episode 91. Everyone get your colorful, crazy squares. Namrah, what have you been up to since last we spoke? How we doing over here?
Nothing, just a bunch of presentations, starter marketing presentation, a couple of consulting projects. What about you?
Oh my, I was just saying, before we turned the recorder on, the truth be told, in the last, what is it? In the last 58
58
days, let's round it, in the last 2 months, in the last 60 days, 90 episodes, now 91. So 90 episodes in 60 days. Now some would say quantity over quality. That's not how media works. But what are your thoughts? You're a marketing lady. What are your thoughts?
Honestly, I feel like the work that you have been doing in terms of your podcast has been incredibly diverse. Like, for context, to anyone that's watching this, I went through Mike's list of episodes before I was on the podcast a week ago, and I was honestly blown away by just the diversity. You have VCs, you have founders, you have marketers. I think that's pretty cool. I do think that's pretty cool in terms of like the whole diversity that you have going on, because not many people, in my opinion, not many people are able to attract like people from, yeah, that's just
I'll
my
take it
honest
as a
opinion.
compliment. I've been told the opposite. I no no. I take all compliments. I file them and in my brain. But I've gotten so much negative. It's like, well, what's wait? One day you had a rabbi, and then in the morning you had the rabbi, in the afternoon you had the atheist. The next day you have a venture capitalist, and then you have a marketing person, then a video guy who's talking about Christianity. What kind of podcast is this? This is illegal. And I'm like, you're saying variety is good, maybe.
Yeah, yeah. So like I have a question. So when people like usually I don't know, criticize you like this, what advice do they offer in return? Like there must be some solution that they offer. Like should you narrow down your niche? Should you
Great question. Yeah. So, well, it depends who I'm talking to. So, like, if you when I've talked to other podcasters who have, a 650 episodes on YouTube,
mm,
or, you know, 600 syndicated radio, episodes that go out to all
mhm,
of America. I've gotten interesting feedback on that. It's good to have variety, and it's important that the host should be the host, and it's a bit
mhm,
of a psychological game with the audience of like, well, where are we going now? Is it a mystery, or are we repeating what happened last week? But then I've had other people where I guess they're just like, well, I don't want to be on because you said that it's not all that outreach. You reach out to someone literally, and they say no,
mhm,
thank you, or not interested, or don't you've already asked me twice. Don't contact me again. And the truth is, for every 10 asks, only one person like actually books the slot. And that
mhm,
so it's so if this is episode 91, you know, that means I've literally done outreach over 1,000 points of
mm,
outreach. But it's not so hard to do outreach. I use Boardy, the AI super connector is helpful. I use
mhm,
LinkedIn. I use
mhm,
Facebook. I sometimes reach out to a friend.
mhm,
Sometimes people are so eager to come on, but they don't know, they don't feel comfortable reaching out to me. So not just the criticism, there's a weird conversation. There's a weird conversation like, am I worthy to be on the podcast? And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm accepting you on. I'm inviting you on. It takes time to reach out to you." And then people are like, I am unfit. And I'm like, no, no, the other guy doesn't have a company yet. He was lying. You have revenue and investors. Oh, but I'm not honorable as a. No, ladies are impossible to book. Why? Because it's always,
oh,
I am unfit. I am unworthy to be cast upon the pod. And, I don't know. You signed up. Are you crazy? What's wrong with you?
No, so I was showing this like your invite to one couple of my friends, and they were also confused. They're like, "You don't have a company yet. Why have you been invited?" I'm like, I don't actually know. I'll ask him the question when I am talking to him. And then we did have that conversation last week, and I think we agreed to the fact that because our paths have been so non-linear, there's a certain conversation that could happen in terms of what non-linear careers look like. I do believe visibility in my specific industry is incredibly important. I cannot wait for the right moment to be like, oh, now I am worthy. I need to start putting myself out even when I'm half formed. I can't afford to be like, once I get that job, that market consulting job, that's when I'm going to come. I don't think that's a good idea.
I no, no. I was chatting with the guy. There was the episode with Nadav Shanoon, and
Yeah.
he's running like a Geo, and Geo's like a AI tool, an AI company, where it's around like marketing twin. So like go to
Mm-hmm.
market twin. So we
Yeah.
trying to understand what is your go to market strategy, try to automate it, whatever. And then yeah, and I'm like asking him questions, and it took a few steps. It took like a few calls before. Also, sometimes people book but don't show up because of
Mm-hmm.
sometimes money would be lost if they showed up, so they messaged me, I can't come, and I'm like, no, no, I'll reschedule, don't worry about it. And
Yeah.
their business is hanging by a, who knows what's going on. And then
Yeah.
he's like, one, I'm like, but now you're famous, your venture back company. He goes, no, I'm not famous yet. And I'm like, but you worked at the Pentagon, you worked at the CIA, you did you worked for that company, you did the nuclear research. He goes, well, that was just a little research. And people who are successful or powerful or influential, they always put themselves down for some reason, afraid of. They always lower themselves. When you talk to
I
someone who,
think
yeah, why? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts?
I think it's probably because the goalposts just keep changing. Like and it's just such a human phenomena. I feel like as a human, if you learn how to be happy with where you are in the process, I think that will bring a lot of peace. Of course, a lot of this sounds like woo. They're like, okay, it's. I don't think it's a very practical conversation. It is an abstract conversation where like you need to be happy with where you are in the process. Uh, but yeah, I don't know. Like for example, and this is coming back to the question that I have about like your demographic. When you invite people onto your podcast, where do they usually fall? Are they like 20, 25, 25 to 30, 30 plus? Like,
My
what does that look
niece, my niece, I think she's 11. She she wanted to be on. She was
like? All
commenting
right.
on other videos with like a venture capitalist. She commented like 5 times, and then I'm like, Emily, you can come. Emily Soba, you're welcome to come on. And she's like, I want. So she's really wants to come on, and then
Mm-hmm.
there's other. I kind of. It's interesting. I kind of had this thing where if anyone really really wants to come on, they're allowed to come on.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
then
makes
so
sense.
my son, so Zachy Merker, he's been on 3 times. He's also my son who's 9 years old. But he was
Mm-hmm.
very insistent not to show his face, not to talk about anything, not to talk about, just to say that he's a YouTuber with like 8,000 subscribers and he loves making videos. And so, yeah, he was like, I want to do it again. And I'm like, okay. And then it's interesting. There's also we were chatting about this before I started the recording, is that
Yeah.
when people are older, let's say over 40, they didn't grow up. Growing up, unless they were like me, unless there was computers all around them and they were exposed to like computers by an uncle, a mom, a father, brothers and sisters, all sorts of tech everywhere. Media, YouTube, social media like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, these things, photos, videos, sharing, are extremely foreign and even uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of people where, well, I can't come on just on. I need to have a chit chat first. So
Mm-hmm.
I had to learn that, like, okay, instead of sending a click here to book, I had to learn we have to be like, okay, if you're ready to book, book. if you need a chit chat first, here you can click that instead, and then we'll have a chit chat. So I think about half the time people are like, let's talk first, just so,
Mm,
and I'm like, but no, the not knowing is even is always gets more views. And they're
that's
like, oh,
true.
not knowing
True.
gets more views. You Merker, you're only after the views. And I'm like, no, I'm saying that it's only gets more views because it's more interesting. Because all I know
Yeah.
about you is the fake picture you have on LinkedIn, and the what you wrote about yourself, which was a lie. And then a person's like, hey, don't, you caught me. So yeah, and well, you're starting a podcast soon. You're getting ready to start, aren't you?
Yes.
Aren't
Yes.
you
So,
nervous? Aren't you afraid of the podcast ghosts
oh,
and the?
uh, I feel like, okay, so I will be helping my professor film the podcast. So, as in, like, she's going to be the one on camera. I'm going to be the one behind camera. So, my main worry at this point in time is positioning the podcast properly, doing my competitive research, which is what I'm going to be doing this week. I think when I think of podcasts specifically, it's mostly just like, okay, understanding what my audience is. So that's the sort of thing that we're trying to approach, right? Who would actually want to sit down and watch this? Because I don't know if you agree, but like attention spans are terrible nowadays in terms of,
What did
they're
you
not.
say? I'm eating lunch. I wasn't listening.
Honestly, maybe you probably are, since you're like from the older generation, you probably have like a better grip on your attention. I did see on LinkedIn that you have a degree in mathematics from UFT, and then you also study Jewish text. So I'm pretty sure that has really helped in building that foundation of like, oh, this is how I go all in. Maybe feel free to like push back.
No. You're saying good. No, ask. But when you
This is how I
study,
go all in terms of studying. So something that I have been coming across during my creative process of creating anything is that the, there is a certain fun that used to exist in research for me. I need to find my love for it again because something like ChatGPT has like completely now when you can put in a couple of prompts and get everything from ChatGPT, yes, it saves time, but also there's a very human muscle of researching. I do think ChatGPT is, sort of ruining. But yeah, one.
no, you're saying good. I actually, if you met me, I've told this to many people. Even a couple years ago, okay, maybe I'd make some YouTube videos, but making a
Mhm.
YouTube video allows you to edit it, allows you to plan it, allows you to delete it. When you
Yeah.
do like a podcast or a video, it's not even a podcast. When you do like a video show, you can't
Mhm.
just delete it. The other person has already shared it on LinkedIn, maybe, or has,
Yeah.
they've already have like 40 views. So by the time I watch it for the first time, 2 days
Yeah.
later, it's already got views. They've already showed it to like friends or family or coworkers or a boss. And then
Hmm.
by the time I watch it, I'm like, and I've told people, I've been on other people's podcasts too, and I'm like, please delete that, and they're like, delete. And I already got 100 views, and I'm like, what?
Hmm.
When did you post it? They're like, I posted it the next day, and I'm like, the next day? No, what? You didn't? I thought we would remove this and that, and then I learned in life that it was a learning curve for me. It was a learning experience of sometimes in life you just gotta like just put yourself out there. It's a
Hmm.
software. It's a technology concept. Is you just ship it, warts and all, buggy, ship it,
Yeah.
and then when the first person comes back and says, "Oh, it's buggy and the software doesn't work," and Merker, you're a terrible person. What they're really saying is, I want this. They're communicating that the software
Yeah.
didn't work. That means they downloaded the software or that they used the software enough that it didn't work. And they're telling
Yeah.
you, I want that it would work. So that's actually a blessing. That the best blessing is the
It's
honest reply, the honest the honest criticism. It's buggy and it sucks and you're a horrible person and I hate you. But please the update. Please send the update as fast as possible. I'm like, you told me you hate me. He goes, well, I hate you, but the software is very useful. It's a contradiction.
Speaking of like buggy software and what, I'm like sort of thinking of thinking about this in the context of networking. So over my past year at Schulich, which is it's been a while now, within my business management degree, the first day that we land at orientation, we were encouraged to like go out and like network and whatnot. I feel like this is specifically a Gen Z thing, thanks to the pandemic and our social media capabilities and whatnot. We are, as a generation, genuinely afraid of like walking up and talking to people, which like I do think that's a problem, because I just think with the current job market, it's not the best move to just keep applying and hoping the ATS gods will bless you with a job. That's not going to happen.
The
Like you've
gods.
got these
We've
new people
evoked the
with
gods to job hunting. That's where we're at. That's where we're at in Canada, everyone.
yeah.
It's no job. I know a few people when they lost their job, and
Mhm.
it's different when you lose a job when you're like 40 and you're
Mm.
married with kids and people ask what do you do for a living and you say you're out of work. It's different when you're 50, 40, 30, 20, you know.
Yeah.
So it's different when I look back a bit tangential this like I look back to when I first gave a rabbinical lecture, like talking, teaching on
Hmm.
in front of a group of 20 or 30 people. The first like I've done that maybe 500 times. So the first maybe 1,000 times. The first 100 times I did it, it was really bad. And people told me people actually stopped coming. There was a time where no one came. I had like a
Mm.
weekly lecture at a synagogue. It was on Shabbat every Saturday, and there were 3 times no one came, and I almost and it was hard. And then for 3 years I did that lecture. I did teaching it. There were times where there was 20 women, and I had to give a lecture for 40 minutes, and it's it's hard. Public speaking's hard, but public
Mm.
speaking isn't always filmed and you can
Yeah.
prepare. A podcast or a video show or a YouTube discussion, you it's raw. Like right now, when if a person's watching this right now, it's not June 26th, 2026, 11:55 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. No, they're in the future and they're watching on their phone. They don't know that there's like a microphone, like there's actually like a physical apparatus plugged in, an audio device plugged
Mhm.
into a MacBook Pro that's being charged, that the fan's running, that I'm looking
Yeah.
into, and you're sitting on the other side of Toronto, whatever, or
Yeah.
wherever you are, and you're looking into your device and you're talking, and the people in the future who are watching this, they don't know the rawness of what's happening in real time right now and how frightening it is. And
Yeah.
aren't you afraid? Aren't you afraid?
To some degree, yes, but I feel like I've also had like so much, not so much experience, but a decent chunk of experience where I've embarrassed myself, in all honesty,
Amazing.
publicly or otherwise, where it's like I don't actually mind putting myself out there. I feel like I was seeing this video where this woman was talking about how for certain careers, you have to pay in a currency, right? It's say for influencers, they have to pay in the currency of like people knowing what they're doing all the time. For say an engineer, mechanical engineer, you have to pay with the currency of your time. For my specific industry, I have to pay with the currency of again visibility, of being able to, sort of building in public. Of course, not all of the building can happen in public, but as someone who was unemployed for 8 months, I realized that if I don't get out there and tell people or at least show people in terms of evidence as to what I'm capable of doing, whether that's talking about marketing or talking about different things, they'll never know. So
That's right.
this
That's right.
in some ways, this video or whenever it goes on your YouTube will be like evidence of being like, you know what, I can talk about marketing. I can, if you need me to like, be more of a public facing person, I can also do that. Something of that sort. So yeah.
It's so interesting, Namra, as you're saying that you're openly saying the challenge of in marketing, looking for a job, finding a job, doing an internship, or helping a professor. That
Mm.
you're finding that there are a lot of people who wouldn't have the guts to say, a lot of men, they never
Mm.
explicitly say, oh, I'm behind on a mortgage, or oh, I failed the university, or this. That comes out privately later because it's not socially acceptable for like a
Mm-hmm.
grown man to say, "Oh, I haven't had a job for 2 weeks. Never mind 2 months." Or because it's like almost shameful, and people would look down upon them. But it's interesting how you're just like, "This is who I am. This is what I studied," and it's different culturally in the Jewish community in which I live. There's a lot of it's like a very tight knit community. Or kind of if you go to a synagogue, you go to like a Orthodox Jewish synagogue, everyone knows everyone else. Everyone's kind of in each other's business, and this guy's married to your sister, and this cousin's married to her, and this and that. And even in a room full of all guys, it's more a community. So you kind
Mm-hmm.
of get the support and the shame. You get the good and bad with that, and or as you said, also like if you do marketing, there's a lot of it has to be you get out there in the public. If you're doing like computers, if you're writing code or using Claude or you're doing programming, you don't usually see the video of the nerd at the computer for 10 hours debugging it so that the app works. That's not
Yeah.
like cool. That's not considered consumable video content. Like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna watch the guy, put his glasses on and have a sip of his like overpriced coffee, and then massage his unkempt facial hair, and then try to, and then send one message to the girl he really likes who he hasn't spoken to for 10 years. Like, it's too nerdy. It's too nerdy.
Yeah.
And then go through a database and like move code lines. Like, it's not marketable.
It's comfortable.
It's just it's like a guy fixing a car. Like, is that, like the goal is for like the marketing lady to have her car or Uber ready to go. You don't want to see like all the cars being fixed for 8 hours, sitting there as like with a guy under the car with a screwdriver and like flashlight, and unkempt pictures of ladies in the background that are not kosher, all sorts of alcoholic beverages, swear words. You can't really film that because that's kind of
Yep.
shop. It's called like shop talk. You can't
Shut up.
shop talk. Like, I mean, that's not marketable. Like, I don't know. You can't.
I like the thing is, I think it all depends. Like when you were talking about the engineer things. So okay, to be fair, I don't know enough about coding or engineers, but I do see a bunch of reels where software engineers like talk about their behind the scenes. Of course, highly edited, highly sensationalized sometimes. But sometimes maybe that could be a marketing opportunity. I think it depends creativity wise, like what can you bring to the table and what not. I suppose so when you started like this specific podcast, like what sort of backlash or if any comments did you receive from your community? Do you think they had opinions?
I've been receiving backlash since I came out of my mother's womb. Michael, what are you doing out here? All sorts of cords being cut, all sorts of no. That's a different topic. Backlash at I guess because there's a point in life when for me, I'm right. So I'm like 42 years old. I guess I'm at a different point in my life. When I was 22, if I go back 20 years ago, would I? Well, also, I didn't know anything about when I was 22. I didn't know anything about YouTube and audio recording and video processing and
Mhm.
journalism. I didn't have any. I never went to school for journalism or media. I never studied any of that. So a podcast didn't. There was no YouTube 20 years ago in
Mhm.
2006. There was no internet video, Netflix like this. There wasn't
Yeah.
such a thing. I think at that point in time, okay, don't fact check me here, but like Netflix would have been like DVD discs inside of
Yeah.
envelopes you get mailed. So I think a lot of it, a long-winded answer there is, I guess I've learned that today at 42 years old, if I want to have a toy company that like makes puzzles or licenses technology to make toys and puzzles, like all these trinkets and stuff I have on my desk here, then it's not so easy to, if you want a Facebook ad to get in front of
Mm-hmm.
people, you have to buy that ad. You have to pay. If you want Google AdWords, you have to pay. If you want YouTube ads, you have to pay. If you want a trade show booth, you have to pay most of the time. If you want to get on someone else's podcast, you have to ask people. They may decline. I guess I learned that, who's there's a point sometimes in life where, if not now, when? If not
Yeah.
now, when? Like you just do it, and if I'm not for myself, who will be for me? If I'm not for
Yeah.
myself, who will be for me? So,
Mm.
and I've learned from being around other people where they've shouted at me. They're like, "Okay, great. You sat in your basement. You filed the patents. You did the toy designs and the puzzle designs. Great. Where's the marketing? Where's the?" And I'm like, "What marketing?" They're like, "You haven't done everything. You only did the product. You only did the product development, and even then, it's iterative. You've only done the website. Great.
Mm.
Songpuzzle.ca. Where's the marketing? Where's the advertising? Where's the brand development?"
Mm.
And I'm like, "What's marketing?" And they're like, you have to get your product. No one knows
Out.
you exist. And I'm like, "What do you mean I exist?" They're like, "Only you know. Okay, you exist. Your family knows that Mike Merker exists, but they don't know that there's a product and the product's not in the store." And I'm like, "Well, I
Yeah.
would love to be in the store." Well, they're like, "Well, how are you going to get into the store? You don't own Walmart. You don't own
Mm.
Amazon. How are you going to get there?" And I'm like, "Well, I can." And that you need. So then I've learned more from watching other people's successes and failures. Is I've learned the importance of, yeah, you need to know what marketing is so important in life. Marketing. What is marketing? How would you explain what marketing is as a marketing expert?
I think marketing is honestly to me part PR and part in some ways luck and part consistency. Because well, being in brand marketing or at least trying to specialize within brand marketing or having experience there, it's the main foundation is that I hate it when people are like, oh, I just need one video to go viral and then my business is going to like pop off. I'm like, that's not how that works, babe.
It
Like
never
you need
works.
to, yeah, it's just I feel like a lot of the times, especially on Instagram or say YouTube or whatever, people conflate having a huge audience with it actually converting. And that is not always how it works. I feel like marketing at its basis is making people feel heard, fostering that sense of community so you can get conversion out of this, maybe benefit your business. No, not maybe, benefit your business financially, but I do think that there's so much within marketing that I even don't know about. I can only talk about this specific perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And how long have you been studying? Would you say you're
Marketing.
you're studying marketing, or would you say you're studying communications?
So, if I had to say, I studied communications. I studied from 2019 to 2024. So that was around 4.5 years ish at University of Waterloo. However, since University of Waterloo has a co-op system, you're supposed to get like 5 internships to get your degree. So you're studying and you're working, you're studying and you're working. So my experience with marketing was interspersed throughout all of these internships. I worked with University of Waterloo. I worked with Canada Post. I worked with a bunch of other places. So because of that, I have about 1.5 years of experience. And now, while I'm working with Roshni and Prosh Marketing, again, back in marketing, one interesting thing that I will say that I have picked up on is that so much changes so fast. Because when I graduated, there was no AI, and that was like barely 2 years. I mean, there was AI, but AI is everywhere now.
Yeah.
So I was at this round table yesterday, and there were like full blown conversations about what roles is AI going to replace, how is it going to replace, how do humans bring that touch. This was not a conversation 2 years ago. And I
That's
feel
right.
like if
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah, I feel like in that context, it's really important to be constantly be updating yourself, really. Would you say that you have sort of come to, I don't know, resent marketing in some ways because of how annoying it can be? Because, of course, I can understand it being annoying for someone who's not from the marketing side of things, because I have constantly come across people like that. So, yeah.
No, it's a great question, and I should even say that this is very much a two-way street of an
Mm-hmm.
episode where we're chatting equally and asking questions to each other. So that alone, that alone is a rarity because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes a founder, a startup person, techie is so behind on marketing that the minute
Mm-hmm.
that I open the hey, this is your chance, come on, trust me, you'll get 100 views. Just give it, you'll get 50 views in the week, 100 in the month, maybe 1,000 by the end of the year. You'll need this when they Google search you and they see me making jokes with you. It'll be good for you. And then they're like, well, who are you to tell me that? And I'm like, do you want to do it or not? And but back to your main question is that marketing is neglected by the techies. Like
Yeah.
I'm like a crazy techie, and everyone, most of the people I'm around are techies. But at the end of the day, most human beings on the planet, your users, need your complicated technology tools and puzzles and games and systems and processes. They need that, and there is no marketing.
Yeah.
Those young men and those guys and girls who are really deep in the tech, they're always horrible explainers. They're always the nerds upon nerds. They're the people who don't come to the parties. They're the people who they don't even go to their university courses. They're always sitting in their basement. There's always Mountain Dew, 2 liter Mountain Dew bottles everywhere. These are the ladies whose hair is unkempt and they have nose hairs sticking out. You're talking like the real weirdos and the crazy. But yes, so do they hate marketing? Do I hate marketing? I guess I guess there's a misunderstanding that if you build something really cool,
Mm-hmm.
if you build it, people will use it. Well, you have to talk to them. I've learned from my own mistakes and from mentors shouting at me like broken records. Michael, great, no more building. No more. Don't even open your laptop. I'm like, oh, but it's so comfortable. I get to sit in my butt on my soft leather chair and I get to hide from the world. But the end of the day is you have to be out there in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And only if you are at events and only if you talk to people and you talk to users and you talk to customers, or if you have a toy, if you put the toy into your niece's hand or your kid's hand or someone else's kid's hands, or you're approaching educators, only if you're only if you're out and about doing, do people even know that you exist? Because you're not, because no, if you don't speak for yourself, who's gonna do it? What, you're gonna wait and wait and wait and wait? So I don't view it so much marketing. I view it more as the hiding from the world,
Mm-hmm.
and then, but at some point, someone has to get out there in the world. So, but that's expensive. It's you have to hire someone, or if you don't do it yourself, you got to pay to play. I think that's what I've learned from 100 people I know who are building and building and building and programming and programming and programming. And then they
Mm-hmm.
get to a point where they're like, oh, this will change the earth and cure cancer. And then, of course, no one knows how the software works. And no one knows that the software exists. And so, unfortunately, I see that a lot where it's just the reality. If you're good at tech, you're usually you're good at tech because you never had a girlfriend, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's
So when it comes down to like your specific goals in terms of the company that you have, what would you say are like the major ones? Maybe over the next year or the next 3 to 4 years, like do you have a plan?
a great question. So I'm learning now.
Mm-hmm.
After many, I guess I've been fortunate to do a lot of trade shows. and get a lot of good feedback. So I'm not afraid to come out there in the world, but I'm still learning that to turn songs into QR codes that scan with the phone as these like
Ooh.
funky patterns. This is still like you look at this and you do not see Never Gonna Give You Up by Rick Astley. What do you see?
To me, it's something that's like, can you like get more with the frame? Like it's not to your left. Like I think you're hiding it. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah. So I think it looks like pretty playful, like pretty funky and pretty playful. I do think like I don't know, like the use case basis that I see for something like this is like, when kids school boards. That's what I'm thinking. Ooh, okay,
Is this
okay,
better?
that's
You
that.
like this more? Here, we're testing in real time. We're getting doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
You like
So
this? Yeah.
I, before I get started, like say anything, who do you anticipate this using the most? Like the children, correct? Like 5 to 10 years old. So I feel like we'll have to reverse engineer and see where do we even get to these children from? Is it schools? Is it like super centers? Like I don't. To be fair, I don't know enough about the industry. Oh my god! Oh my god!
My basement is filled with these, and these are all built with these. No, but well, back to your question. These are all built with these like tiny blocks,
Oh, okay.
and there's thousands. We're talking here like, this is like there's thousands of these patterns everywhere in my basement, and blocks upon blocks. I've tripped over stacks of blocks, knocking it over. But yes, when you break it down to um, what needs to be done, so yeah, so in the age range of let's say 4 to 10 is sort of the
Mhm,
sweet spot. Um, it still needs more work on the patents and the
mhm.
technology. A little bit more is needed there, but I guess the one of the challenges at the moment is it's hard to have something that kids will like, but parents will also value, that
Mm,
educators will also honor. It's not
mhm.
just when you sell something an adult needs, it's very different than selling something that a child would want if their
Yeah.
parents paid for it, if it helped according to the teacher's needs. So there's many more. It's a
Mhm.
different puzzle. It's a different problem. If you're selling, if you're in a competitive space selling, beverages, selling like, Coca Cola, selling like some new soft drink or something, you can give it to the person to drink. If you want like a 5-year-old girl to turn her favorite song into like Lego blocks or like tiles, you can't just go out, you can't give out samples at a kindergarten. That's not how it
Yeah.
works. So
Yeah.
what advice? Give me free marketing advice, everyone. Get your free marketing advice.
No, I think in this specific context, like what we usually do, just and this is just the first step, is just doing competitive research and understanding who is doing the work that you want to do better than you, right? Like look at their social media, what partnerships do they have? But here's also the thing: chances are they probably have a bigger budget than you do. So like I don't know. It's the thing is, this is a fascinating concept to me, but also I don't know enough about the industry that you're trying to crack into. But but as a first step, always like and maybe you have
You're
already
right.
done this,
You're
but
right. You're right. No, no, no. You're
understand.
so right. I sorry interrupting you there, but
Yeah,
Namra, you're extremely right. It's the first step. Always is what is the closest competitor, or what is the
yeah.
similar company or company doing something close, and then we can examine what they're doing, and then we can
Mm-hmm.
reflect, oh, they work with this school board in
Mm-hmm.
California, or oh, they approach this homeschool conference to
Yeah.
sponsor something. So you're 100% right, is and this goes out to everyone in marketing 101, or should we say
Yeah.
branding 101, is well, who's in the similar space? There's always someone or something similar that you can
Yeah.
reflect on. You can never say there's no competitor. But people, I know a lot of people where they show me some software and they're like, I'm the only one doing this. Why do you
Yeah.
think that's wrong? Why is that a wrong approach from a marketing perspective?
Okay, so when you say that you meet people who say that they're only ones doing this, what industry are they in, or what product are they usually trying to do? Is it like technology? Like
Oh,
what are they
I'm
usually?
correct. Yeah, I'm thinking about like the technology people saying like this business B2B SaaS tool.
I just think the B2B SaaS side of things is so incredibly saturated. Um,
Mm.
like, again, I've been in the startup ecosystem for like the entirety of the summer now, which is again not a lot of time, but something that we keep revisiting from the teachers, from people who speak at these panels, are like just the amount of startups that failed. And so it's
Yeah.
almost never a good idea to just be delusional about what your product can offer, in my humble opinion.
No,
But yeah,
no. In the true opinion is one can never don't ever believe in yourself. Don't drink your own Kool-Aid. You have to
yeah,
be you have to receive. Are you saying that we have to be receiving criticism from others?
100%. I feel like um, not receiving criticism or sticking your head in the sand and hoping that people will never criticize you is never a good approach. I think it can it can it's never going to be like I if you have people who are willing to criticize you without putting you down, I think that's a blessing. At least I look at it from my perspective. I look at it from my perspective. I'm like, I need all the advice that I can get in that realm. So yeah.
It's so true. I'm literally yeah, yeah. You're just as you said, you're not yet. You would call yourself an aspiring brand
Brand mark.
manager. So
Yes.
Mike Merker is an aspiring uh, toy company owner, an
Yeah.
aspiring Rubik's cube puzzle maker. And I also, I guess I don't say aspiring because of the shame. And also, I'm a guy. I'm a male. I'm a guy. So
Yeah.
men we're not allowed, not allowed to say how we feel because that's you gotta be all tough guy, which is also a BS if you ask me. And then also it's so true. We can get lost in our own head, our own thoughts, and then we dream, oh, if just that one ad went viral, if just I got 1,000 users, if the angel investor just people are I know a lot of people that are just like, oh, if just one angel investor came and dropped $100,000, I'm like, are you praying for angels? Come on, with the but the truth is, I myself am guilty. Is there is a feeling when you build something, or when you plan out on the product side or the technology side, there is the delusional layer that always exists, where oh, this will be great, or this is a great idea. And ideas are different than products because products have to go through a few steps. But everyone I know who's working on a product or idea, they are always drunk with their own idea, and they're
I
always
do
yeah.
think I think it has to be a I do feel like it has to be a balance. Like again, like, coming back to what you said, if you don't put yourself out there, if you don't advocate yourself for yourself, who will? I do think that's also like
Yes.
really important in that aspect. Like if you really like your idea, it means that you're willing to back it up and go see through it, which is pretty good because the amount of people who are working jobs that they're not happy with and is insane. You like what you do and you're willing to work towards it, which is pretty cool in my opinion. But yeah.
Excellent. And
Anyways, I
we
think
may
we're past time.
oh
We had
we both are
yeah.
busy and we both will have to go. And in the last 10 seconds, what is your in the last 10 seconds we have? What is your advice to all the other younger, aspiring marketing people out there?
Start creating something of your own or work with someone who's creating something of their own. Show proof of concept. I did not do that early enough, and I feel like that is something. If I could go back, like to be fair, I still have time. I speak like I am too old, but I'm only 25. But if you have proof of concept, I think you will get where you want to be faster. And yeah, that's my advice.
Perfect. We will end here as the life. We're going to get back to real life and not just chatting on computers. Take care, Namra, and we're always
Thank you,
great to
Mike.
have you back
Okay.
again. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.